here we go in 3, 2. Welcome to another round of the Red Clay Soccer Report, powered by our friends at NoFo Brewing. John Nelson here with you. Time to take the tour as we're getting into conference championships and we're getting out of regular season, trying to find out who's making their way into postseasons. And the rundown is going to be Sun, Peach Belt, SoCon, Appalachian, Sun Belt, Gulf South, SAA, SSAC, and anything else we might have missed, maybe UAC. That's your rundown here coming up in just a little bit. We got highlights, we got posts, we got stuff. Now let's get to it. Now, let's start things off with activity in the Sun Conference. So we go with the Sun, which means we focus on SCAD. And when SCAD is a national power, as they have been, you kind of have to gravitate toward them to find out what it's going to look like for them when you get into the postseason. Let's start on the men's side, looking at the schedule and the standings in the Sun Conference. And as tradition is, once again, we focus on SCAD. SCAD finishes third right now in the Sun, 5-2-1 overall with a record of 6-6-4. Kaiser and St. Thomas ahead of them with 7 wins and 6 respectively. Behind SCAD in conference, New College with 3 losses. Florida Memorial and Southeastern 4-3-1. Weber at 2-6. Ave Maria at 1-7. Warner did not win in conference this season. So checking the composite schedule to get you where we need to go. It is going to be on Wednesday. Next time up, Florida Memorial, New College in Sarasota, Southeastern and SCAD in Savannah. Then on Saturday, it is the winner of New College and Florida Memorial at Kaiser. SCAD and Southeastern's winner travels to Miami Gardens to take on St. Thomas. Now, checking on the women's side of things when it comes to SCAD. Once again, it is schedule and standings getting you ready for the postseason. Southeastern and Kaiser at 6-1-1 ahead of SCAD at 4-1-3, same record St. Thomas. Florida Memorial had 3-4-1. Ave Maria 1-3-4. New College at 2-5-1, same record for Warner, and Weber International did not win in region this season, finishing in the overall with a record of 4-9-2. Ave Maria on Wednesday visits SCAD in the opening round of the tournament. Florida Memorial goes to St. Thomas. That one is Wednesday night. Then the winner of SCAD and Ave Maria goes to Kaiser in West Palm Beach on Saturday. St. Thomas and Florida Memorial's winner goes to Southeastern in Lakeland on Saturday. Now let's get you into the Peach Belt and let you know what's going on there. Obviously, when there are teams that are ranked across the board in the top 20 and the top 25s in Division II, naturally we gravitate here. Let's start things off on the men's side once again in the schedule and the standings. We now know the men's soccer tournament rundown. So it is with a handful of sides. Once again, it is 2 versus 7, 3 versus 6, 4 versus 5, and the 1 seed on the men's side, North Georgia, getting a bye. So now North Georgia claims it for the first time. They get the number 1 seed in the PBC tournament. 8-2-2, received the first round bye. They get the winners of the 4 and the 5 in Dahlonega on Wednesday, November the 12th. And that is the matchup between Clayton State and Georgia Southwestern. We do have highlights coming up of that match in the regular season that happened just a bit ago. And suffice to say, a lot of goals, and it went for a while. Landers are going to be the number 2 for the second time in the last 3 years. Bearcats 1, and USCA pushes them into the 2nd seed as they end their season 7-2-3. Lander now looks to Saturday. They're going to host number 7 seed Middle Georgia in Greenwood. Flagler is your 3. They get the PBC regular season at 6-1-5. Only loss coming to the Nighthawks earlier in the year. They get the number 6 USC Aiken in St. Augustine on Saturday. And Clayton State gets their season wrapped up at 5-5-2. They're the 4. They get a rematch of the regular season finale going up against Georgia Southwestern in Morrow on Saturday. So that is Saturday, November 8th. 2 versus 7, Lander, Middle Georgia. Flagler hosting Aiken in the 3-6. And Clayton State and Georgia Southwestern in your 4-5. Mention the regular season finale. It went for a while. A lot of goals on the board. Here's your highlights courtesy of Clayton State and the PBC their own selves.
There'll be a throw in here for the Hurricanes. Throw in by Bruns. Headed off. Still in possession. Hurricanes trying to find it, and it's in! Goal Says Statesboro gravel to put the Hurricanes on the board first. Gravel, send it down. Shot is up and sit down by Jonathan Bedard. To put themselves in the lead again.
Goal number 24, Jonathan Bedard.
Then Bedard gives the Hurricanes a 2-0 lead. Vela is moving now here for the Lakers. Send it up, send it down. They're almost headed up there by La Chica. Amro sends it down. And Overmars puts it in to put themselves on the board. Aaron Overmars took
goal number 3, Aaron Overmars. Assisted by number 12, Andre Jimenez.
Passing it down. Headed in by Gonzalo La Chica, and he puts it in. Put the score to a tie. It is now 2-2.
Goal number 9, Gonzalo La Chica. He's assisted by number 21, Manol Nito on the cross.
Nito puts it in. Moving it. Bodies. And La Chica puts the shot in to put the Lakers up 3-2. What a shot, sent it straight down. With 25:43 left here in the second half.
Goal by number 9, Gonzalo La Chica.
Bedard keeping it. Amaya trying to puts it in. Bicycle kick. Puts himself on the board and ties the game with 3 minutes left here. Cesar Rubio Amaya puts it in.
So that gets you through the standings. On the men's side of things, North Georgia once again 26 points on the year, Lander at 24, Flagler at 23, and then you end up with the way that it lays out. Clayton State at 17 points, Southwestern at 13, Aiken at 12, Middle Georgia 0-11-1 on the year in conference, 4-11-2 overall. Now let's get you on to the women's side and let you know what happened there. We now know the rundown when it comes to the postseason tournament for the women's side of things. It is the 1-8, North Georgia and Clayton State. The 4-5, left-hand side of the bracket, GCSU and Flagler. Right-hand side of the bracket, it is going to be the 3 and the 6 with Columbus State hosting that one. The 2-7 is going to be the Sharks of Beaufort on the road in that matchup once again. Quarterfinals Saturday. North Georgia, the 1 seed, hosting Clayton State. Lander hosting Beaufort. Columbus State hosting Aiken. And Georgia College and State University hosting Flagler. Once again, those are your quarterfinals, the round of 8 in the PBC Women's Soccer Tournament once again. GCSU and Flagler both finished the regular season at 17 points. First step in the Peach Belt tiebreak is head-to-head. They tied in regular season play, and then you go team results against the highest seed not involved in the tie and continue until the tie is broken. Both teams lost to North Georgia, Lander, and Columbus State. Aiken gets the tiebreaker since GCSU defeated Aiken when Flagler tied with Aiken. There's going to be a test later on. But anyway, that's the rundown for the Final 8 when it comes to Saturday, November the 8th on the women's side in the PBC. Standings as they wrapped up, it was North Georgia, Lander, Columbus State, Flagler, Georgia College and State University, Aiken, Beaufort, Clayton State, and Southwestern. Middle Georgia was 0-8-2 and 2 points. Albany State 0-9-1 with 1 point, 3-12-1 in the overall. Now, into the SoCon, let you know what's going on there, and it is a very, very busy time when it comes to the postseason. Play, turn around, keep playing, and you're off and running. So what went down for Mercer had to work their way through the tournament. On Halloween, they knock off ETSU by the score of 2-1. Then they beat Western Carolina into overtimes by the final of 1-0. They now will take on Samford in the title game. That one was going to be on Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock with Mercer and Samford. And the folks at Mercer caught up with Coach Tony E. himself to find out what it was like to survive ETSU and the double overtime win against Western Carolina playing now for the SoCon Conference Championship, courtesy of Mercer, their own self.
Mercer defeats Western Carolina by the final score of 1-0 in overtime here in Cullowhee, North Carolina, to advance to the SoCon Tournament Championship. Coach, I just want to talk about you have to be so proud of this team. 110 minutes to come out and get a win to advance the tournament championship game. Just talk about the effort from the team here today.
I can't be more proud of these girls, what they've done all season. Our word all year has been resilience. From the beginning of the summer with the injuries we took through the course of the season, girls have just stepped up in massive ways. And, coming in today, we knew it was a big test. I mean, Western's a really good team, really well-coached team, organized. I mean, powerful team, last year's two-time defending champions. Tough place to play. And we have to defend and be really rigid and tight and take away their power of the two forwards. And I thought our girls did a really good job today. They stuck to the game plan, they bought in. And this group has a feel about themselves. And we told them, we didn't get the accolades some of them wanted individually from all conference. We used as motivation in the conference tournament. And our girls have really fueled themselves, overcoming a big game on Friday with ETSU, this game tonight. So I couldn't be more proud of our girls, to come here in Cullowhee and beat, defending champions on their home field.
Game-winning goal came in the 109th minute. Those two seniors that helped draw the penalty. It was Cindy Farr that got tripped here in the box, and then Morgan Eichelbarner puts away the penalty. I was talking about having two seniors step up, and arguably the biggest moment of the season there.
Yeah, I mean, we had a conversation with the girls actually about a week ago when the NCAA said they're not going to add a fifth year. So we want them to know, because there was rumors of that happening, that this is it for you all. There's no next year. Like we were hoping to. And they were kind of surprised. And we said, let's extend your playing career as long as possible. Let's get 2 more weeks out of you. So I was really proud of the work they've done. Sydney, great run, great through ball, gets a well-deserved pen. And Morgan stepping up, in a crucial moment, all the pressure's on her, and tucks it away. So I've been very proud of both those girls and the whole team. I mean, this group has been resilient. I think it's one of the best groups I had to work with overall, with all they overcame all year to come in again today and get the game winner.
SoCon Championship next Sunday against Sanford. Let's talk about the preparation that's going to go into that and just embracing the moment here in a conference championship game. Yeah,
I mean, we're going to enjoy this tonight, obviously, and get the girls off tomorrow and start preparing the video for Sanford, which is, the current champions. Okay. And Todd's done a phenomenal job there. He's won a ton of championships. They beat a very good Furman team today in overtime, the same way how we won it on a penalty. It's a tough place to play. Again, they've won so many titles, so it's going to be a big task for us, but we'll be ready for it. Having a week off will be great for us to heal some players, get some well-deserved rest. We're really excited. Our girls know the job's not done. They have the pieces to win the whole thing. If we can come out how we have this weekend, I think it gives us a great chance against a very, 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 very good Sanford team.
Coach, congrats on the win.
Hey, thanks, and go Bears.
So that takes you through the women's side when it comes to the schedule for everything in women's soccer standings going into the tournament. Just so you know, Sanford ran the table, did not lose in there. It was 7-0-2 and 23 points. Western Carolina was second with 17. ETSU, and this is in conference point totals, ETSU had 16 and 4 wins. Chattanooga at 15 points and 4 wins. Furman 13 points and 3. Mercer 3-3 and 3 and 12 points. Greensboro and Wofford identical records at 2-4 and 3 in conference. The Citadel 2-5 and 2. VMI 0-9 and 0 in conference on the women's side. Now on the men's side, when it comes to soccer, lay it all out for you here. Standings and the schedule. So schedule that was left, and going all the way from what went down in August all the way up into the present day. And you got the Mercer activity stopping with a loss to UNC Greensboro, and that was on Saturday, 3-0 win for UNC Greensboro. So they are finishing their season on a win. Furman shut out Wofford 2-0. ETSU loses to VMI by the score of 2-1. Winthrop and Furman was canceled back in the midweek, and that got you to where we are right here in the schedule. So now the next stages for men's soccer in the SoCon, checking the standings. Furman at 13 points at 4-0-1. Mercer with 10 points at 3-1-1. UNC Greensboro 9 points and 3 wins. ETSU 6 points and 3 wins. VMI and Wofford, both at 1-4, 3 points on the year. So now that means that Furman gets the regular season championship, their 22nd regular season SoCon championship. And so the Paladins and Mercer get the 2 top seeds in the tournament bracket. Your tournament bracket, once again, lays out this way. It is going to be on Friday the 7th, your first couple of games. It is going to be in 2 separate locations. ETSU and Wofford, your 4 or 5, feed into the game at Furman. So Friday, ETSU, your 4 seed, Wofford, your 5, 4 o'clock, Greenville on the campus of Furman University. Winner gets Furman Sunday afternoon in Greenville at 2 o'clock. The championship game is going to be set for 2 weeks from now on the 15th or the 16th. Now, UNC Greensboro, your 3, VMI, your 6, they play Friday night at 7 o'clock. The winner of that one feeds into the game night side at Mercer Sunday night, 7 o'clock in Macon. Mercer, the 2 seed, takes on the winner of the 3-6 game. And once again, Furman takes on the winner of the 4-5. Winners of those Sunday matches will play in the championship game. Time and location and date to be announced. So that gets you out of your men's activity on the SoCon side of things. So let's take you into the Appalachian Conference and let you know what happened there. Once again, we mentioned last time out that on the women's side, it was Truett McConnell getting the title when it came to the schedule. Truett McConnell, they pretty much ran the table this season. So you look at how things are from the weekend. Truett McConnell 2-0 over Montreat in the quarterfinal. Then it was Tennessee Wesleyan over Brenau in a quarterfinal by the score of 1-0. Milligan over Pikeville 3-2 in a quarter. Reinhardt loses to CIU 2-0 in a quarter. Now in Athens, Tennessee, it is going to be on the semifinals, Milligan and Tennessee Wesleyan. That we know on Tuesday the 4th, time TBA in the semifinal. Once again, Tennessee Wesleyan and Milligan. And so then that means it's going to be CIU taking on Truett McConnell in the other semifinal in the conference tournament when it comes to the women's side of things. And just so you have the conference final standings, Truett McConnell, they won every match. 13-0 ran the table. Tennessee Wesleyan had 11-2. Then it was CIU and Milligan, identical 9-3-1s. Reinhardt had 8 wins. Pikeville had 7. Brenau and Montreat were 6-6-1. Spartanburg Methodist at 3-7-3. Johnson of Tennessee 4-9. Columbia 2-8-3. Bryan and Union both at 3-10. And Bluefield did not win in conference this season. So that lays it all out for you. Now on the women's side of things, let's go to the men's side and track what happened on the men's side in the AAC. Once again, top seeds advancing in the tournament after what happened on Friday night. No real surprises there. It was Pikeville winning over Tennessee Wesleyan in Waleska by the score of 3-2. 3 shutouts and 2 one-goal games gave you your quarterfinal round, and it was Union getting the win in the first game. Then in the second game, you end up with Milligan with a big number on the board, and it was so Union beat Spartanburg Methodist in your 1-8 2-0. Pikeville on the 4-5 beat Tennessee Wesleyan 3-2. Milligan in the 2-7 shutout Reinhardt 6-0. Truett McConnell, your 3, beat Columbia the 6 by the score of 1-0. Now, Tuesday, Pikeville is going to travel to Union. Truett McConnell has to travel to Milligan. Those are your semifinals for the AAC on the men's side. Championship game, once again, winners of the activity on Tuesday. That will be on Saturday. So that lays it all out for you on the men's side of things. Just to give you a rundown of what happened in the standings in the regular season, Union had 9 wins. Milligan had 8. Truett McConnell and Pikeville each at 7-2-3. Tennessee Wesleyan at 7-4-1. Columbia 4s across the board. Reinhardt at 5-6-1. Spartanburg Methodist 4-5-3. Montreat 4-6-2. CIU at 4-7-1. Johnson at 2-6-4. Bryan had 1 more loss. Bluefield did not have a win in conference play in 2025. So now we go to the SSAC. SSAC Sports lets you know what's going on there. On the women's soccer side of things, in the SSAC, traditionally, it's going to be a lot of heavyweights. And so it is at the Emery-Fulmer Soccer Complex. It is going to be down to the Final Four. The semifinals are set. It is going to be William Carey taking on Mobile, no surprise there, and Life taking on the University of Tennessee Southern, the former Martin Methodist, and then the Women's Soccer Championships once again on the 6th and the 8th in Montgomery. So Life blanked out number 7 Thomas. to get that win 3-0, sliding into the semifinals there. Then you had the top 4 seeds advancing to Montgomery, and once again, you can catch all of that. The semifinals on Urban Edge Network, and tickets available for purchase. You can go to the Emery-Fulmer Complex and hang out there on the 6th and the 8th and the finals to find out who advances out of the SSAC into the postseason in the NAIA. Now, on the women's side, it was just to give you the rundown of the standings as it went after the activity on Thursday when William Carey shut out Faulkner 7-0, UT Southern over Dalton State 5-2 in Pulaski, Tennessee, and Mobile beat Point University by the score of 3-1. That's how we ended up with the Final Four that we have with Mobile, William Carey, Life University, and UT Southern. In the season itself, William Carey ran the table, had 10 wins. Life only had the 1 loss to William Carey, 27 points and 9. UT Southern, 7 wins and 22. Mobile, 19 and 6 wins. Point, 18 and 6 wins. They did not have a draw. Mobile had 3 losses and a draw in those 4 games. Thomas and Dalton State each at 5 and 5. Faulkner at 3 and 7. Bruton Parker 2 and 8. ABAC at 1 and 9. And Blue Mountain did not win in conference play in 2025. On the men's side, looking at the schedules there, once again, it is going to be not quite chalk, but you end up with Life and Dalton State and Faulkner and William Carey, the 1 and the 5, the 3 and the 2, taking on each other at the men's soccer at the Emery-Fulmer Soccer Complex in Montgomery, Alabama. That one once again on the 6th and the 8th to determine who is going to be heading out of the Southern States into the NAIA tournament. So it's going to be strong work there. Life shut out Blue Mountain to finish round 1 action, and that set the week for the semifinals. Once again, everything is at Emery-Fulmer. Life outshot Blue Mountain Christian by the 18-2 margin. Enrico Borigotto and Enrico Lazzari scored the goals for the Runnin' Eagles, and that gets us to the semifinals coming up later on this week. Just to give you an idea for the standings on the men's side, Life won 8-1, 24 points. William Carey, 7 wins and 22. Faulkner finished at 6-1-2 and 20 points. UT Southern, 4 wins and 14. Dalton State, 3 wins and 13. University of Mobile had more losses, even though they had 4 wins, still at 13 points. Thomas had 9 points on 2 wins. Blue Mountain had 2 wins and 7 points. Point had 2 wins, 7 losses, and 6 points. Bruton Parker did not win in conference in 2025. So that gets us through the Sun, the Peach Belt, the SSAC, the SoCon, and the Appalachian. So that means we go to the Sun Belt and find out what happened in the Sun Belt Conference. And it was, once again, as you get closer and closer and closer to what's going on in the conference, you had activity on the weekend on Friday, and that kind of was the last part of the regular season. Kentucky beat Georgia State 1-0 in Lexington. West Virginia beat Marshall in a rivalry game 3-0. Old Dominion, James Madison, a 1-1 draw. Georgia Southern and South Carolina, 3-1 final for Georgia Southern there in Statesboro. UCF 3-1 winners over Coastal Carolina. Here's your highlights, and it was a Sadorf Hattie against South Carolina. Here's your highlights once again, courtesy of ESPN Plus, the Sun Belt, and Georgia Southern, their own selves.
Another throw in by Sears. Deep in the box. Off the head of Seedorf, and it's in!
Goal, Georgia Southern.
Another early goal for the freshman Emil Seedorf, his 5th on the year, and it's 1-0.
Goal scored by number 20, Emil
The man of the hour, it's him again. He got
Lewis in space, on the run. Lewis up to Seedorf. Seedorf scores!
Georgia Southern.
Emil Seedorf, bottom right, in the back of the net with the assist from Lewis. And it's 2-0 Georgia Southern. Lewis in space. Ricky Lewis, pass deflected on the outside. Ryan Holmes sends it in, finding Seedorf. Seedorf turns and fires, and he scores!
Go Georgia Southern.
count 1, you count 2, you count 3. I'll call it a hat trick. Emil Seedorf.
A hat trick for Seedorf. He now has 7 goals on the year, and it's 3-1 Georgia Southern. What a response.
All of that sets up what's going on Tuesday the 4th, and it means it's James Madison at Coastal, West Virginia at South Carolina, Southern and State in Atlanta on Tuesday, Kentucky and Old Dominion at Norfolk at Old Dominion. All of those are 6 o'clock starts on Tuesday night. Then UCF and Marshall from Huntington, they are at 6:15. Then James Madison plays a quarterfinals opponent on Sunday, as does Georgia Southern in the tournament. Georgia State and Coastal Carolina, they are all playing on Sunday, which sets up semifinals on Wednesday, and then it is the finals on the 16th. So very, very busy week. We lean into the last part of the regular season, get you into the quarters and the rest of the tournament on next Sunday, and then in a week and a half, on the 12th, it's the semis. Then on the 16th, it is the Men's Soccer Conference Championship for the Sun Belt here in 2025. On the women's side, as you lay things out, it is the Women's Soccer Awards and all-conference team in the Sun Belt for 2025. You end up with the Player of the Year, Skylar Blaze, sophomore forward from ULM, Player of the Year headlining everything with the 14 head coaches, and Blaze becomes the first ULM player to earn the Sun Belt's top honor. 12 goals for the conference regular season champ, the only unbeaten team in league play, all-time leading scorer. 23 goals as a senior captain, second in conference with 27 points. Most game-winning goals with 4. James Madison sophomore forward Jenny Lackey, 2024 Sun Belt Player of the Year, is the Sun Belt Offensive Player of the Year, 28 points, 11 and 6. 4 game-winning goals for her as well. Old Dominion junior Ashlyn Kula becomes the first player in conference history to get multiple Sun Belt Defensive Player of the Year honors, taking home the award for the second year in a row. Louisiana freshman Miku Kurihara gets the inaugural Sun Belt Midfielder of the Year award. Raging Cajuns had her with 6 goals and 14 points in conference play. South Alabama redshirt senior keeper Sierra Giorgio, Sun Belt Keeper of the Year for 16th nationally in goals against average at .61, 8 shutouts, 25th in save percentage at .846. Louisiana redshirt junior forward Selma Elheimer becomes the first player in program history to be named Newcomer of the Year, key piece of the offensive unit after 3 seasons at McNeese State. The Tomball Texas native started 16-17, third on the team with goals scored, with 6 and points with 15. 10 of those points end up in Sun Belt action. Louisiana redshirt freshman Carson Glenn, freshman of the year. Third season leading ULM. You end up with coach of the year coming from Will Roberts at ULM, women's soccer coach of the year. And first regular season conference championship in program history, and the 10th team in league history to go unbeaten in Sun Belt Conference play. Old Dominion led the way, 6 all-conference picks. ULM, South Alabama had 5, Marshall had 4, James Madison 3, Louisiana and Texas State had 3, and Georgia State had 2. Junior striker Aaliyah Fadul, Sun Belt first-team honors for the 3rd straight season, and Izzy Wood also gets Sun Belt recognition for the 3rd time in her career. So that's your rundown of all of the accolades that are heading the women's soccer way when it comes to the Sun Belt. Looking at the tournament from the previous week, and the week was in the middle of the week. App State 1-0 against Georgia Southern. Marshall put 5 on Southern Miss in Huntington. Old Dominion 2-1 against Georgia State in Norfolk. Arkansas State 1-0 against Coastal Carolina. ULM 2-1 over Louisiana. James Madison 4-2 against Texas State in San Marcos. South Alabama 1-0 over Troy in Troy. So that sets up Monday in Foley. Marshall and ULM, Georgia State and Old Dominion, Louisiana, South Alabama, James Madison, and Texas State. And then the tournament continues to roll from there. Now, it is looking at that particular grouping. Let's take a peek at your standings once again just to lay it all out for you with what happened in conference. Old Dominion, 21 points in the East, James Madison at 18. Marshall and Georgia State had 16 each. App State had 12 points. Coastal Carolina had 8. Georgia Southern at 05 and 5 had 5. West Division, ULM at 22 points. South Alabama at 21. Texas State at 19. Louisiana 15. Arkansas State at 8. Troy and Southern Miss had 3 points each. So if you combine the two, ULM, South Alabama, Old Dominion, Texas State, James Madison, Marshall, Georgia State, Louisiana, that is your top 8, and those are the ones that head to Foley. Let's check out the Gulf South, let you know what happened there before we get into the SAA and the UAC, before we leave you for yet another week and get you into conference play. In the Gulf South Conference, once again, remember, it is limited participation on teams in the Georgia footprint when it comes to the men's soccer standings themselves. And just so you know, it is Mississippi College, your 1 seed, West Florida the 2, AUM is your 3, Christian Brothers the 4, UAH Montevallo, West Alabama, and Trevecca are your top 8. Lee, Union, Delta State, and Spring Hill on the men's side do not advance into the conference tournament. On the women's side of things, you are looking at the standings once again in the Gulf South Conference. West Florida, Lee, Montevallo, West Alabama, Delta State, Spring Hill, and Mississippi College. UAH, Union, Trevecca, Valdosta State finishes at 3-7-1 in conference and 10 points. Christian Brothers and AUM, they wrap up the standings on the women's side of things. So taking a peek at the schedule on the women's side, very, very busy Sunday. It was West Florida shutting out West Alabama, Spring Hill over UAH, Delta State at UAM winning 2-0. Union Trevecca tie at 1. Valdosta State gets a win over Mississippi College, 3-1 in Valdosta. Big win for the Blazers. Lee shuts out Christian Brothers by the score of 2-0. Monday, Clayton State and Montevallo in a non-conference game. Valdosta State at Union in a non-conference game in Jackson, Tennessee. That one is at 1 o'clock Eastern Time as we head toward the conference tournament. Now, let's get you into the SAA, let you know what happened with Oglethorpe and with everyone else in the footprint in the Southern Athletic Association. You can always check everything out with them at SAA-Sports. Go into the men's side of things in soccer, checking schedule and standings and such. You have the clinching of the SAA regular season championship, number 5 nationally ranked Trinity, 15-1 in the overall, 7-0 in conference play. They get the regular season. They get the regular season hardware there. Checking the standings once again, Trinity ran the table. Southwestern, Swanee, Berry, and Oglethorpe your 4 and your 5. Center is your 6. Rhodes and Millsaps do not make the postseason in 2025. So checking out the schedule, you end up with activity in Georgetown, Texas. Once again, it's at Trinity's place. So it's going to be on Thursday. Berry and Oglethorpe, followed by Swanee and Center. And then Trinity gets the winner of the 4-5. Southwestern gets the winner of the 3 and the 6. On the women's side, you wrap up the SAA. The Tigers blanking Southwestern to claim the SAA regular season title there as well. Once again, that in San Antonio. They win, they control their own fate. They won and controlled their own fate. So the schedule going forward in the SAA is this in Memphis, Tennessee. You end up with Center and Oglethorpe, followed by Swanee and Southwestern. The 3-6 game, the 3-6 winner takes on Rhodes, and that one is on Thursday. And then you end up with the 4-5 taking on Trinity in Memphis in the Women's Soccer Championships. That is on Friday. So just to give you an idea about the standings and how things were on the women's side of things, Trinity, Rhodes, Swanee, Oglethorpe, Center, and Southwestern, your 6. Berry and Millsaps eliminated along the way. And now let's find out what happened with West Georgia and get you set for any and all of the other versions of the sport that we can get our hands on here. And we'll let you know what's going on as we get you ready. We hope we have covered everything when it comes to all the conferences that are here in the footprint for all of you hanging out with us to find out what's going on in the Sun and the Peach Belt, SoCon, Athletic, Academic, the Appalachian is the word we're looking for, the Sun Belt, the Gulf South, the SSAC, the SAA, and then UWG with what they are doing on the women's side of things. And their schedule concluded with a draw against North Florida in women's soccer last week. And so the schedule for UWG finishing up at 4-13-2, and it was wrapped up in the A-Sun with that 1-1 draw after taking on Jacksonville 3 days earlier and finishing out the week with a win at Stetson in the land. So when you look at the ASUN conference schedule and find out the standings as the ASUN wraps up yet another year, the Atlantic Sun Conference in that particular tournament. So on the men's side, let's start there. ASUN Men's Soccer Championships, the field has been set in this particular championship. It is going to be at Hodges Stadium in Owsley B. Frazier. Gold Division 2nd seed Arkansas takes on the Graphite Division's 3rd seed Stetson, and the number 2 Jacksonville out of the Graphite, and the number 3 Lipscomb out of the Gold compete for a spot in the semis. Here's the rundown for Saturday. Jacksonville and Lipscomb, Central Arkansas and Graphite, and Stetson, they are going at it on Saturday. Then on the 10th, it is going to be the ASUN semis, Bellarmine hosting a TBD opponent, and then the Graphite number 1 North Florida in Jacksonville is going to be hosting a TBD as well. And then once again on the 15th, that's when you have your ASUN Championship final that is hosted at the highest remaining seed. So let's take a peek at the standings on the men's side of things. Gold Division, it was Bellarmine, Central Arkansas, Lipscomb, and Queens. Then it was North Florida, Jacksonville, Stetson, and Florida Gulf Coast. So that was your 4 and your 4 in that. And then on the women's side, how it all broke down in the ASUN this season, you end up with Lipscomb heading back to the ASUN final, and Lipscomb once again punches their ticket with a 1-0 win over Jacksonville Sunday afternoon at Lipscomb. And so now they go to face North Florida in the ASUN final next Sunday, 2 o'clock Eastern time at the Lipscomb Complex, as the Bison aim to get their 2nd consecutive ASUN title. Checking the standings on the season, it was in the Gold Division, Lipscomb, EKU, North Alabama, and Bellarmine. Central Arkansas and Austin Peay did not qualify for the postseason. Graphite Division, Florida Gulf Coast, Jacksonville, North Florida, Queens, West Georgia did not qualify through tiebreakers. Queens ended up being the 4 seed out of the Graphite Division. Stetson was the 6th seed out of the Graphite. Okay, there's going to be a test on all of this later on. Once again, thanks to all the teams, all the conferences, all the coaches all season long to let us know what's going on as we head headlong into conference finals and getting you ready for the postseason of postseasons here in all of college soccer. That has been the Red Clay Soccer Report, powered by our friends at NoFo Brewing. Play it safe, everybody. Enjoy the college action. We'll catch up with you again next week.